All right, we're back from the break in the second part of today's show. I had so many questions you guys sent me today, and which is great that we had to break it up into two parts, basically just to gather the second part of the questions. All right, with that having said, let's get to it. I had a person email me who preferred to remain anonymous. They asked, is talking to underage girls okay if it never turns dirty and you have no intentions of ever meeting the girl? See, this is a real touchy subject, man. I gotta tell you, I'll be honest with you, I've done it before. I've talked to underage girls, but by underage, I mean, I believe the youngest girl I've ever talked to is 16, and I had your intentions, to never meet the girl, I didn't want to go to prison, so, I had no intention of meeting the girl, and I never did end up meeting the girl. So I've talked to a couple 16-year-olds before in my time, a couple years back, and I have talked to underage as far as like 17, about to turn 18, that type of thing, and I mean, as close as I've gotten to that fine line was when I did start talking to a 17-year-old, but I had the intentions of probably meeting her at some point because she was the sister of a close friend of mine, so eventually we were going to run into each other. But my intentions were just nonchalant at that point. I had no motives at that point. But point being made, she was 17. She was going to turn 18 in 2 weeks, and I slept with her before she turned 18. So that's about as close as I've gotten to that fine line of underage girls, But for your question, is talking to them when no intention is being made to meet. You don't plan on meeting them. You don't want to meet them, you said, and you have no intention of talking dirty with them or sexting with them. But, we can have a lot of intentions to not do something, but then we end up doing it, just because it naturally happens. I'm not saying that that's going to happen to you, but you're really playing with fire here, man, when it's underage girls. And you said you were talking to a woman the other night who said she was 18, and you said you're 25, I believe you said. So, whatever, okay, it's a little bit of an age gap, but in my view, whatever, she's 18, she can make her own decisions. But then you said you found out she actually told you she was just saying that to talk to guys because she said she didn't get a lot of responses when she told her actual age, which understandably, that makes sense. You said that she told you she was 14. Now you're in some forbidden territory, my friend. So that's when you said you emailed me and said, is this okay, even though I don't ever plan on meeting her? I personally will tell you my advice. I personally try to avoid anyone under 16 years old, and even when they're 16, 17, 18 years old, I don't go out of my way to avoid it, but I try and make it a habit to avoid females like that, even talking to them. And I know that might sound discriminatory, there might be a lot of bright 16, 17, 18-year-olds that just want a pen pal type of thing. I don't really care. I don't want to, go into that area. So to answer your question, is talking to underage girls okay, even if it never turns dirty, even if you have no plans on meeting them? I would probably avoid doing that unless they're probably, like 17 about to turn 18 or 18 and they actually seem like they have half a brain in them and they have no intention of meeting you. Yeah, you might be all right there. But as far as anything, like even 17 nowadays, I would probably stray away from that. Even if you have no intention of meeting them, you don't want to sext with them, anything along those lines, you just want to talk with them and say what's up. I would probably stray away from that area unless they're right around 18 or older, just for your safe bet, man, because you never know. How old they really are. You never know what they're going to try and hook you into, or you might be tempted. The older you get, to think, hey, I'm talking with a really young chick. How far can I push this? It might happen years later. You never know. So I'm just telling you, I would stray away from that area, man. Because, especially teen years, you're playing with fire there, buddy, as far as what society is going to think of you, what could happen, how you get in trouble, so 18 and up, buddy. Keep it there, man. It's for your best interest and it's for your own safety. That's for sure. All right, so having talked about that dark subject, Neil asked if boyfriend and girlfriend should split everything, like bills, 50-50. Neil, yes, you should. If you are living together, you should, which you said you were, and you said that you come from an old school household where the man takes care of the woman and the woman cooks, cleans, stays at home, does that type of thing, like the 1950s lifestyle. Well, Neil, I'm here to tell you this is 2013, and if your woman's okay doing that, that's fine. If you're okay doing that, that's fine. However, Neil, you said that she is starting to want to get a job now. She's starting to want to help contribute with bills now. Neil, you should kiss her ass. I'm telling you, can we say that? You can say that? Okay. You should kiss her posterior, Neil, because that's a great woman that wants to help you out with bills, and she wants to get a job, and it sounds like she's wanting to be independent. She doesn't want to be taken care of as if she's helpless or just a housewife. So that's good. And you asked me, how do you get used to this, Well, I tell you, Neil, to get you in the right mindset, you got to think as one. Not, I paid my half if you paid your half. No. You got to, in my example, my girlfriend and I, we have a joint banking account, so both of our checks go into the same account, and we think of that as our money. We don't think of it as, when's your check coming in, we've said that before, but we don't think of it as, I paid the bills out of my check, we'll use your check to pay these. No, we think of, we get paid this much, okay? Okay, now we get paid this much again, so this is how much money we have. You have to think of yourself as one, Neil, because you are one couple. You are one unit now, and you have to put yourself in that mindset. There's no his and hers, anymore. You are one unit. You have to do it as a team, together. So, yes, I will say that you should pay 50-50. Both of you contribute, always. But I would not say I've done my part. When are you going to do yours? I would say you have to do 50-50, but you have to do it as one unit. So to get used to that, Neil, I would start saying, think about it as your money, the both of yours money, not just yours and then her money or your check and her check. Think of it as that's your guys' money, and that should start helping you out. But yeah, that's a good idea about, her taking some of the workload, and that's absolutely normal, Neil. That is not out of the ordinary that a woman wants to get a job and be independent like that. All right, now Alicia asks if she should just have an affair with a married man. She said she is single. She has never done it before, but she's heard from friends that it is, I'll just come out and say it. Alicia said that her friends told her that the sex is great with married men. I can't really answer that, Alicia. I don't know. But I've never been married, and I've never cheated either or. So, I have been in your position, though, where I've been the single one that was with a married person. And I can tell you, Alicia, I'll be honest with you, I don't really like to say it now because everyone knows I'm a huge advocate against cheating. But, I got to be honest with you, the sex is pretty intense with a married person. It's pretty good stuff. But you have to know what you're undertaking. You have to know what you're doing. You will be labeled a homewrecker. You will be labeled a slut. You will be labeled a whore. It doesn't matter if his wife's already, cheating on him, or if she's just a total, I'm going with that. If she's just a total tool to him, it doesn't matter. You're going to be labeled a homewrecker by somebody. Somebody out there is going to say you're a homewrecker, that you're a slut, that you ruined both of their lives. You have to know this is going to come with that territory if you start doing this. So if you're willing to accept that and take that on, then I would say, you know what, go for it, because the blame is going to be you for pursuing him and encouraging him, but in the end, the blame comes on him. He's the one that made the decision. So, if you can undertake the responsibilities and the labels that are going to come with that kind of a thing, then I would say go ahead and shoot for it. But if, it's a happy home type of thing, and his wife is a good woman, and even if they have kids, or even if they don't have kids, but his wife is a good woman and he just wants some extra tail, I would say probably stay away from those homes, because that's just a bad reason to hook up with a married guy. That I would not favor that at all. So yeah, then pick a crappy home, they're just both douchebags to each other, and then try it with that first. All right, Keith asked about All right, a little background story on Keith real quick. Keith emailed me and said he was with his girlfriend. They were living together, his wife, and they were living together, and she left him for another man. And she now wants Keith to move out. And he said his brother's is 100 miles away. His brother's wife doesn't really favor Keith, but Keith said he's having severe trouble finding a job right now. And Keith doesn't know what to do. He's obviously distraught, like we've heard 1,000 times before in this scenario, and he's debating, should he just get rid of this guy who his wife's leaving him for and split town. I couldn't advise you further from the truth, Keith. That's probably the worst decision you could make. Don't let a slut affect your freedom, okay? Because I assure you, you can plan the perfect murder, but one way or another, eventually they'll figure it out, Keith, and you'll be caught and you'll be behind bars. So don't risk your freedom for someone, who obviously didn't really care about you to begin with. I would tell you, don't move 100 miles away to your brother's, do the best you can to find even a studio if it's at that where you're at, and just get on your own 2 feet and then start figuring things out and recovering from there. But I can't advise that, Keith. Don't go, trying killing this guy, and you probably could because he sounds like a douchebag the way you described him in the email, but, knowing that she was married and saying that he wanted to swoo her away and woo her away and all that. But I got to tell you, Keith, don't do it. It's not worth it. Find a new job, realize you're free now from that hellhole, and, start over from there. I would say, your brother's not a good option. You don't want that tension if his wife doesn't really favor you or anything. So just find a new place, Keith. Do the best you can, like we all are in this country right now, and move on from there. Becca asked, is it all right when her boyfriend, try and figure out how I can word this, because some of these words probably aren't the best to use online on the show. He asks if it's all right when her boyfriend calls her a dip, and then SH, you get what the word is. And he asks if it's all right when her boyfriend calls her that and says she probably has a low IQ. But on the flip side, she says that when she does something good, that he praises her. He says she's so smart and everything. Well, Becca, that's good that he says that you're smart and he praises you and you do good things, but when you say he gets mad at you and calls you that, no, that's not okay. And you said you jokingly called him that and he got really mad about it. Well, tell him to stuff it. Because if he can call you that and say you have a low IQ when he gets mad at you about something, he needs to be able to take it the other way. And really, you shouldn't be going either way with that. I mean, you don't want to really knock people down that you're with, just because you're mad at them. I used to do that a lot in my other relationships, not really go out of my way to try and knock them down, but it just came out naturally because they were already stupid. Okay, that's the wrong phrase, but you get my point, Becca. No, he shouldn't really be saying that to you, telling you you got a low IQ and stuff just because you pissed him off about something. So, I mean, and I've really learned that in my current relationship. Even when we argue and stuff, it's great because we don't try and knock each other down a peg. We just, we argue, we fight, but we get it over with, and we don't do it by taking personal shots at each other, which is what it sounds like he's just doing to you, or just, being rude to you for one. And then just being, a jack-off is the only word that comes to mind right now. So, no, it's not all right for that. And you told him that it upsets you and you don't really like it. And you said that he said you're just being a girl. Well, a lot of times I say that to women, that they're just being a big girl. But in this case, you actually do have some validation. And you need to tell him either he stops saying it or, you need to figure out whether he's worth your time if that's all he's going to refer to you as, and that's as much as he's going to respect you when he's mad at you, So, no, that's not okay, and I would tell him that he needs to make a decision whether he's going to respect you or not to be around. All right, Anthony wants to know how to respond to the girl that smiles hard at him. Oh, okay. Anthony sent me an email, and he rode the bus to school one day, and this girl put her hand in his pocket. Yes, you heard that right. She put her hand in his pocket, and then I guess he looked over at her, and she didn't really do anything, just had his hand her hand in his pocket. And he said he's in class sometimes and she taps him on the head with her pencil and walks away smiling. And he said she smiles pretty hard at him, I guess. And Anthony, I got to tell you, I'm assuming when you say smiles hard at you, you just mean smiles big at you. But you said she